Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Loan Officer Marketing Podcast. I'm Chris Johnstone, and we're blessed to have Vickie Lasher here with us today. Vickie, how you doing?
I'm great. How about you?
Doing fantastic. Saw you on Breakfast Club this morning. Saw you on Call Stars. So we're just like we're having a great day.
Yeah.
Well, for all of our listeners who don't know who you are, give us tell us about you.
Okay. I actually have been in the industry for 40 years this year.
Started when she was 3.
Yeah, right. I actually started in hard money and manufactured homes, and then kind of worked my way into operations. So I was an underwriter and a operations manager. I ran several larger companies, and then over the years, I've just pulled back and become my own branch. And doing my own thing. I've got a couple loan officers who work for me, and life is good.
That's amazing. That's awesome. And where in the nation are you located?
I am actually in Central Texas,
Cool.
outside a little town called Fredericksburg.
Nice. Okay. And you are absolutely on fire right now. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's really funny because when COVID happened, and we were all so busy, I kind of got a little burnout, and I didn't really work for a year and a half. And in June, I joined MMA and Call Stars, and really started watching Breakfast Club, and really started to pick up. Started following the program, doing what they told me to do. Last month, I closed almost 3.2 million. I did my database calls, and actually started calling the borrowers that I had not spoken to in the last 2 years
Yep.
about refinancing. And I made 23 calls the other day. Out of that, I reached 12 people. All 12 want to refinance.
Wow.
I've since had 4 more that have reached back out who also want to refinance. So it was a fantastic day of Friday and a half ago.
So, so
So
sorry. You made 23 calls, talked to 12 people, and all 12 of them wanted to move forward with a potential refinance?
yes,
Like
yeah,
100% of the people that you
100%
talked to.
of who I talked to. Yes.
That and 4
Yeah.
more have reached out because you called them, they missed your call, and now they've called you back.
Right. Right.
That's great. And so, what's like? Is it all cash out? Is it what? What?
Some's rate in turn, some is cash out. It just depends on the situation with the people.
That's
So, you know,
so. We have a power dialer inside the CRM, and oftentimes, our team will be like, "Well, it's got a power dialer," and then we run into call reluctance. People are like, "Oh, my database doesn't want to hear from me," or their rates are going to be in the twos and threes. Why call my past customer database? So, what would you say to that?
I would say you're crazy if you don't call them. And I would have said in June, you're crazy for calling them, right?
Right.
But I can't tell you, I mean, my database is huge. I mean, I've been a loan officer for 15 years now. So I got out of operations and into the sales side. And so I've got this big database, and I literally have talked to people that I haven't talked to in 12 years who I call and they pick up the phone and go, "Hey, Vickie, how's it going? Where have you been? What are you doing?" And I don't think that anybody realizes the power that we have in people's lives.
Yeah.
That you know, we are such a huge part of their life, and nobody realizes how much you really contribute. You talk about Christopher Columbus and 100 people, and how many people are now, you know, direct descendants of them. Well, how many people do we actually impact, and what's that impact going to do 100 years or 200 years from now? You
Hmm.
know, and I've helped people adopt children. I've helped people get in vitro. I've helped people get off the streets. I had a woman who was living in her car, and we got her into a house, her and her kids. So what did that do for her kids? And what's that going to do for them in the future? So you have to stay in touch with your database, because you were a huge part of their life, whether you realize it or not.
I could
And
not agree more. That is so special.
yeah, that's just something that's really starting to sink into me as to what this all really means.
Hmm. And isn't that a funny so I love Bob Ross and he says there's no mistakes, just happy accidents. And isn't that a happy accident of calling your past customer database because you're reminded of the stories and you're reminded of
Yeah,
how much you've helped people, which helps you make the next call and the next call and the next connection, which is so when you're making your database calls, not just this most recent round, but when you're making those database calls, do you find it's the majority of it is refinance business, or do you find that you get a lot of referrals as well from people that are just you've impacted their lives so much now they want to share
right.
that?
I get a lot of referrals, and I've been seeing more and more come. And it took a couple months, but all of a sudden, people were calling me and saying, "Hey, so and so told me I had to call you," or "So and so said you help them and you need to help me." So it just it's a better feeling. I mean, the check at the end is fantastic,
Yeah.
but the feeling you get when you get that referral from somebody that says, "You help this person, can you help me?" is just there's no other feeling like it,
Yeah.
you know?
And everybody wins. And
Yeah,
that's what we're looking for all day long.
yeah.
That is fantastic. And so how often do you think that you should call your past customer database?
Well, I'd like to call them every month, but that's not going to happen. So I've actually, because of how large my database is, I've told everybody to expect calls every 4 to 6 months from me. I
Yep.
really would like it to be at least every 3 months. I just can't get through that number of calls and still be active in the business. So, at least right now, until I'm able to hire an assistant,
That
which is
is,
coming soon.
yeah,
So,
that is
but
fantastic.
yeah, yeah. But I think at least every 3 months, you should really be in touch with them.
Yeah. And so, Vicky, you've got the past customer database. Where else are you getting deals from?
I am calling my realtors. I really do follow the MMA plan to the T. I mean, I call realtors on Monday. I call people who are in contract on Tuesday. I call my past database Wednesdays, and then my pre-approved and listings on Thursdays. And just today, as I was on Call Stars, I got a text message from one of my pals that said, "Hey, we found a house we want to put an offer on." So I was working on that right before we came on this call.
That is amazing. And pals, for all of our listeners that don't know, pre-approved and lookings. And Vicky is referencing the daily success plan as part of the mortgage marketing animals. So it's 2 hours a day, 4 days a week, and those are the four calls that you want to be making. So if you'd like more information on that, go to wantmoreloans.com, and a coach will hop on the call with you for free and walk you through the whole thing. So um,
I am going to say that even though we only spend 2 hours a day, you get to the point where that's all you want to do. So, you get those really good days. It's like, oh, I don't want to stop. And
yep.
so I'll go on for another hour or two.
Yep.
So,
And that's it. So it's funny because we do Call Stars East Coast and we do Call
right.
Stars West Coast. And a lot of the East Coasters will do both and they'll
Yeah.
do, which is super cool. So um we have a lot of people in the industry right now. Some of them are newer coming back in, and some of them are just kind of picking themselves back up by their bootstraps and getting back into things. What's your advice for loan officers out there that don't have a consistent flow of pipeline coming in?
You have to get on calls. The more calls you make, the more offers you're going to have. You're going to have a lot of no's, and I do get a lot of no's, but you just keep at it. You don't stop because eventually it picks up steam and then it becomes, a steamroller. And then you're like, oh my gosh, now what? So But it's the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and the more you get out of it.
Yeah, that is absolutely brilliant. Well, Vickie, thank you for being so generous with your time. I know how busy you are. Thank you for sharing. If people want to learn more about you or they want to get in contact with you, how do people find you and reach out to you?
You can actually reach me at vlasher at afncorp.com,
Nice.
or my phone number is 909-838-3554.
That is amazing. And you're on Breakfast Club almost every morning. I absolutely love seeing you there. So loanofficerbreakfastclub.com. And again, if you want to learn the plan for free on how Vickie is making these calls, wantmoreloans.com and book a free consultation there. Again, Vickie, great to see you. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks, Chris.
And to all of our wonderful listeners, I'll see you on the next episode.